Wait, does he actually have some physical problem? What is this?
The likes of what we've all done together. This is me, not me, it's everybody here. And I think
oh, the video has nothing to do with the article. Oh, my bad. And it's paywall. Good. Why? Is Donald Trump divested of his businesses and portfolios? We don't do that anymore. Okay. I need to figure this out. One sec. I'm joining the Ground News family, all right? New York State Senator drops DNC chair bid and backs Martin O'Malley. What the f? No, I'm sorry. I just said Martin O'Malley. It's not. Don't quote that. I believe it's Ken Martin. O'Malley's first name is Martin, but when it says Martin, when it says he's endorsing Martin, that means Ken Martin, right? They don't mean Martin O'Malley. They would say that. I don't think these two things are the same. I think that Trump is intentionally leaning forward so that he doesn't look like this. Because when you lean forward, it gives the impression that you're not fat because you're like your chest, your chin, like your face is all like in a line, and it makes you look maybe thinner than you are if the camera's from the front. But he's like clearly his like center of gravity is almost off of, it's definitely off the middle of his foot, right? And it's like almost over his toes. Maybe that's what it looks like. It's hard to tell because he's in a suit. Elon is just large here, but he's not using like a weird posture. Sorry, hold on. What are we doing? Okay. I think a good sponsor segment. I need to, let's watch Biden's speech.
My fellow Americans.
Hi.
I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be, working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office, from this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago in New York Harbor, an ironworker...
Why is he saying he could run again in 4 years, right?
...installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steelworkers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage. She's on the march, and she literally moves. She was built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. An engineering marvel. The Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart. And yet, through good times and tough times, we've withstood it all. A nation of pioneers and explorers, of dreamers and doers, of ancestors native to this land, of ancestors who came by force, a nation of immigrants who came to build a better life, a nation holding the torch of the most powerful idea ever in the history of the world, that all of us are created equal, that all of us deserve to be treated with dignity, justice, and fairness, that democracy must defend and be defined and be imposed, moved in every way possible. Our rights, our freedoms, our dreams. But we know the idea of America, our institution, our people, our values that uphold it are constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about power and the exercise of power. But whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example. Whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we yield to it. After 50 years at the center of all of this, I know that believing in the idea of America means respecting the institutions that govern a free society. The presidency, the Congress, the courts, a free and independent press. Institutions that are rooted, they just might not reflect the timeless words, but they echo the words of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Rooted in the timeless words of the Constitution, we the people. Our system of separation of powers, checks and balances. It may not be perfect, but it's maintained our democracy for nearly 250 years, longer than any other nation in history that's ever tried such a bold experiment. In the past 4 years, our democracy has held strong. And every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history. I've had a great partner in Vice President Kamala Harris. It's been the honor of my life to see the resilience of essential workers getting us through a once-in-a-century pandemic, the heroism of service members and first responders keeping us safe, the determination of advocates standing up for our rights and our freedoms instead of losing their jobs to an economic crisis that we inherited. Millions of Americans now have the dignity of work. Millions of entrepreneurs and companies creating new businesses and industries, hiring American workers, using American products. Together, we've launched a new era of American possibilities. One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history, from new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. We invented the semiconductor, smaller than the tip of my little finger, and now is bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America where they belong, creating thousands of jobs. Finally, giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices for millions of seniors. And finally, doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime to a 50-year low, meeting our sacred obligation to over 1 million veterans so far who are exposed to toxic materials, and to their families, providing medical care and education benefits and more for their families. You know, it will take time to feel the full impact of all we've done together. But the seeds are planted, and they'll grow and they'll bloom for decades to come. At home, we created nearly 17 million new jobs, more than any other single administration, single term. More people have health care than ever before. And overseas, we strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still...
Holy fuck, I just understood what America is like. Oh my God. Somebody said on my subreddit before that the difference between liberals and conservatives is that liberals doom scroll, but like conservatives just think it's all like epic and hilarious. Like the more America stumbles and fails, the funnier it is. Doing politics in the US is like playing ranked league when you have like a feeder on your team and they're just like, it's always funny and hilarious to like watch you fail, and when they fuck up and when they cause the team to and shit, it's like the most hilarious thing. That's what it is. This is the world. That's why it's so frustrating right now. We have a feeder on the team. We can't kick them.
Free. And we pulled ahead of our competition with China. And so much more. I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together for the American people. And I wish the incoming administration success, because I want America to succeed. That's why I've held my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example. I have no doubt that America is in a position to continue to succeed. That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked.
This is one of the... I need clips, okay? I feel like all the worries that I had from 4 years ago, or from 2 years ago, or from longer, have all kind of like come to fruition. One of the reasons why I said before, it's like, it's bad to say that things are the worst that they can be, or it's bad to say like, oh, the country is controlled by the rich or lobbyists or whatever bullshit, is that when it actually happens, you don't have the words left for it, or you don't have the energy for it or to recognize what's going on. One of the big issues with the lefties calling everybody a fascist all the time is that now when it's actually happening, it's hard to be taken seriously. It's hard for anybody to feel like anything worse is happening because it's always happened. I've seen I've seen an overwhelming amount of people on lay Reddits and on Twitter talk about how like, damn, we're basically into an oligarchy. And everybody's like, yeah, welcome to America. It's always been an oligarchy. It's like, okay, well, not really. Like, we can still vote people in and out, and there's still like policies and a government that largely, based on every objective measure, is still responsive to voters and everything. Like, this is still the thing that exists. You can argue that maybe lobbying is bad or there's some bad things, but like an oligarchy, really? But now that as we approach that, or as we pass that threshold, I wouldn't say that we're an oligarchy quite yet. We still have like functioning courts. We still have a functioning Congress. We'll see what the executive does, and we'll see what other rulings come out of the courts. But it sucks because you can't use these words have been used so much. So it's like, okay, yeah.
Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy, just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share.
Does it help when someone who has been against using those terms uses them? Like, for example, I think you can only trump a fascist holds more weight than someone like Hassan. No, because then people just assume like, oh no, Destiny's become mentally ill. He's joined to the crazies. There is no individual credit given for. There is no individual credit given for your prior positions. Fuck, I was just thinking of somebody earlier this morning this mapped onto so well. Who was it? Fuck, what was I watching? I don't remember. It wasn't Jenk and Anna. Fuck, I'm not gonna be able to remember.
You know, they were dealt into the deal and helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen. We've got to do that again. In the last 4 years, that's exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules, pay their fair share of taxes. So much is at stake. Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever in the history of the world, and the rest of the world is trying to model it now. It's working, creating jobs and industries of the future. Now, we've proven we don't have to choose between protecting the environment and growing the economy. We're doing both. The powerful forces want to wield their unchecked influence to eliminate the steps we've taken to tackle the climate crisis, to serve their own interest for power and profit. We must not be bullied into sacrificing the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must keep pushing forward and push faster. There's no time to waste. It's also clear that American leadership in technology is an unparalleled source of innovation that can transform lives. We see the same dangers of the concentration of technology, power, and wealth. You know, his farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote. 6 decades later, I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech-industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies, told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technology of our time, perhaps of all time. Nothing offers more profound possibilities and risks for our economy and our security, our society, for humanity. Artificial intelligence even has the potential to help us answer my call to end cancer as we know it. But unless safeguards are in place, AI could spawn new threats to our rights, our way of life, to our privacy, how we work and how we protect our nation. We must make sure AI is safe and trustworthy and good for all humankind. In the age of AI, it's more important than ever that the people must govern. And as a land of liberty, America, not China, must lead the world in the development of AI. You know, in the years ahead, it's going to be up to the president, the presidency, the Congress, the courts, the free press, and the American people to confront these powerful forces. We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires, but by making them begin to pay their fair share. We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind too many campaigns contributions. We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year time limit, time and term, for the strongest ethics reform and the strongest ethics reform for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress. We need to amend the Constitution to make clear that no president is immune from crimes that he or she commits while in office. The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute, and it shouldn't be. And in a democracy, there's another danger, to the concentration of power and wealth. It erodes a sense of unity and common purpose. It causes distrust and division. Participating in our democracy becomes exhausting and even disillusioning. And people don't feel like they have a fair shot. We have to stay engaged in the process. I know it's frustrating. A fair shot is what makes America America. Everyone's entitled to a fair shot, not a guarantee, but just a fair shot, an even playing field, going as far as your hard work and talent can take you. We can never lose that essential truth, remain who we are. I've always believed, and I've told other world leaders, America can be defined by one word: possibilities. Only in America do we believe anything is possible.
Something I've seen that really bothers me now is people being so tired of hearing crazy shit that folks who don't care about politics will just say both sides towards everything. You have react streamers like YouTubers, even people that just do gaming collabs, just default to both sides for every news story without any context, making a lot of normie communities either care less or think the left's just crazy in terms of the right. Yeah, that's the issue. The big issue is that they both sides everything, but all of the both sides are the both sidesers in the alternative media, right? You're the disinfo sphere. A lot of these guys now confirmed to have been like paid by Russia millions of dollars, your Tim Pools and your Dave Rubins, even though they try to say everything is horrible and they do both sides. It's never, man, everything is horrible. I don't know, man, I guess I'll vote for Kamala or Biden, or I'll vote for Kamala or Trump. It's always everything is horrible. I guess we might as well support Trump. Even all the people that do that everything is horrible always end up going either towards Trump or just don't want to vote. Like, it's interesting how that works. It's not by mistake, it's by design.
Like a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, sitting behind this desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. That's the magic of America. It's all around us. Upstairs in the residence of the White House, I've walked by a painting of the Statue of Liberty I don't know how many times. In the painting, there's several workers climbing on the outstretched arm of the statue that holds the torch. It reminds me every day I pass it of the story and soul of our nation and the power of the American people.
Honest question, what's the solution to that? I think there needs to be more visibility from Democrats, and I think the messaging needs to be better. And there needs to be more people who are willing to be part of like the Democrat media sphere, like everybody was willing to be part of the Republican media sphere.
There's a story of a veteran. This is a veteran, the son of an immigrant, whose job was to climb that torch and polish the amber panes so rays of light could reach out as far as possible. He was known as the keeper of the flame. He once said of the Statue of Liberty, quote, speaks a silent universal language, one of hope, that anyone who seeks and speaks freedom can understand. Yes, we sway back and forth to withstand the fury of the storm, to stand the test of time. A constant struggle, a short distance between peril and possibility. But what I believe is the America of our dreams is always closer than we think. It's up to us to make our dreams come true. Let me close by stating my gratitude to so many people.
What does this even mean, that the messaging needs to be better? How do you message better against a fabricated and alternate reality? The one thing that Wickler told me I think is true is choosing fights more. I think that's important. I just need other people. I need other people to be involved in it. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it is going to come down to how supportive, I guess, the left media is, like kind of rallying around common causes, because I've said this a million times, the left media will rally around common causes, but it's around stuff that's not about the Democrats. It's about unelected people or unelectable people. It's just not good. It's not a good environment. They have to do better.
To the members of my administration, as well as public service and first responders across the country and around the world, thank you for stepping up to serve. To our service members and their families, it's been the highest honor of my life to lead you as Commander-in-Chief. And of course, to Kamala and our incredible partner, the historic Vice President. She and Doug have become like family. And to me, family's everything. My deepest appreciation to our amazing First Lady who was with me in the Oval today. For our entire family. You're the love of my life and the life of my love. My eternal thanks to you, the American people. After 50 years of public service, I give you my word. I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard. May you all be the keeper of the flame. May you keep the faith. I love America. You love it too. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you for this great honor.
Wow. Okay. So let's say that I wanted to see how people were reporting on Biden's farewell address. Top Joe Biden news. Biden warns of an oligarchy of wealth and power, threatening U.S. democracy. Any critiques of his farewell address? No, seemed like standard messaging points things. Biden, I think Biden has been like pretty insanely consistent from the start of his presidency all the way to the end. I think his messaging has been about the same. He tries not to be hyperpartisan. He does the "I'm a president for all people." Talks about his legislative accomplishments. Warns about impending threats to the country. I think he's been pretty consistent the whole time. Okay, so this is the farewell speech. So this gives you, are these all headlines? Oh, it's AI generated. Fucking AI. Okay. I guess this is a summary of how different perspectives covered the farewell speech. So on the left, you have things like President Joe Biden delivered a farewell address warning of an oligarchy of wealth and power threatening democracy in the United States. Biden highlighted concerns over misinformation and the influence of social media and tech companies on American society. The president emphasized his accomplishments, including lowering prescription drug prices and supporting veterans' health care. Biden encouraged Americans to remain engaged in democracy and to respect the institutions that uphold it. Center coverage is Biden warned of an oligarchy of wealth and power threatening democracy in his farewell speech, stating that extreme wealth and influence threaten basic rights and freedoms in America. He called for a constitutional amendment and immunity for sitting presidents after the Supreme Court granted Trump protections from criminal liability. This is just so insane. Biden expressed concern over a potential tech industrial complex that could pose dangers to the country, drawing parallels to Eisenhower's military industrial complex warnings. Only a quarter of Americans rated Biden as a good or great president, according to the latest poll from the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research. And then, how did the right cover this? Joe Biden warned of an oligarchy of wealth and power threatening U.S. democracy in his farewell speech, stating that it poses real dangers to the country and the press. In his farewell letter, Biden expressed that the soul of America remains at stake and emphasized the importance of the nation's ideals. Biden reflected on his long service and modest beginnings, calling it the privilege of my life to serve the country for over 50 years. The farewell speech also highlighted Biden's criticisms of the incoming Trump administration, which he accused of creating a dangerous concentration of power and undermining democracy. $675 articles. I'm guessing that this is just done what, by time when it was posted? I see 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. If I click this, I'm guessing that I get their particular article about. Yeah, okay. Mark Zuckerberg gave him $419 million to warp the 2020 election in key states, and he had no problem with that oligarch. What a subhuman, disgusting piece of shit. You should go on Abby Phillips, CNN News Night show sometime. You would do good on there. Yeah. I'm trying to talk to Kara. The Kara Swisher person. I think we're setting something up. Damn, these are like far right sites I've never heard of before. Like, okay, I have heard of the Gateway Pundit. I've never heard of Twitchy. WND, publishedreporter.com. Let's see, Daily Express, The Star, Kuala Lumpur, The Epoch Times, The Daily Caller. Okay, I've heard of these. I wonder what they consider centrist. Straight Arrow News, nice. BBC, CTV. Let's see, bias comparison. What are the extreme left ones? I see Wonket. And then decently far left is Huffington Post, Raw Story, Rolling Stone, Alternate, MSNBC. I don't think there's a ranked like on each story. This is just like the overall ranking of these media sites. Also, I don't think Ground News does any of the rankings themselves. I think there's other companies that they rely on for the rankings, and then they just list them here. They have this listed somewhere on their site. I don't know exactly where, but. Sorry, I don't want to spam it. Wait, what? I thought it was for this story specifically. Wait, is it? I thought it was for... I thought it was just an overall ranking of the website. Hold on. I don't. Okay, never mind. If you considered arming your viewers with concise talking points and split of incentive to post videos, /tweets, etc., to push back against the common conservative talking, I mean, I think we do. I think we've done that. I have a lot of like short form content now, which was a goal last year. But it's just like every day there's a new thing. But also like I can only do so much. This is just my community. Like other people on the left also kind of have to get on board with this kind of stuff. But you're also fighting from behind on all these social media platforms as well too, because they're like so, like when you ask people to go on these platforms, I'm actually really curious if it is the same way from even like the extreme left. I guess they would all call you pro-genocide. Like the right feels particularly vitriolic and disgusting on a lot of these, especially on X. I'm curious if it's as bad if like far left people are going after you. I don't know. What is this?
You let a Jew work out in your gym without paying if he claimed that the membership was promised to him by God 4,000 years ago?
Yo. Bro, you are fucking...
That's a good question.
This is the one Epic Kid or whatever that was on stage. Fuck, I don't remember. He's just the troll guy.
Yo, you're fucking funny. Nah, I mean, everyone pays.
What if it was
Dude,
promised?
that is fucking so funny.
God promised it to him. He said that it's yours
Matan or whatever.
and that they'll try to take it away from you. But he promised it to him according to the Jew, I guess.
So then...
If you considered moving from Twitter to another site like Blue Sky. So I'm on Blue Sky. The only problem is that on Blue Sky, there's only people on the left there. There are no conservatives on Blue Sky. So I can't like retweet and fight with people on Blue Sky. I have to be careful because if I start doing that, it's just going to be me fighting with lefties again, which I don't want to get into. I just don't feel like doing that right now. So it's kind of weird. Like sometimes I'll talk shit on there about conservative people, but they're not on that platform at all. So it's just.
You talking like God promised him this years ago before the gym was ever open, that he would have a free or just anything free.
I guess, well, hypothetically
Threads has the same issue. But Threads has the issue that there's just nobody there.
in this story, he, you know, if I'm just referencing it with other, you know, just trying to make a
Other
good,
texts
a
and
good,
stuff.
good, just other experiences.
All right, this is retarded. Let's see. Somebody linked how they do their rating system on ground news. Methodology. Diagrams have been used since ancient times as a way to present complex information in a simple way. Okay. The ground news bias ratings assess the political bias of news publications. They are based on the average rating of 3 independent news monitoring orgs, All Sides, Ad Fonts, Media, and Media Bias Fact Check. Each news monitoring organization has their own methodology, including editorial reviews, blind bias surveys, independent reviews, and third-party research. The analysis done in the context of the U.S. political system. We use a combination of these ratings to offer the most comprehensive analysis. The ratings take into consideration things like wording, story choices, and political affiliation. This rating does not measure the bias of specific news articles. The analysis done to the publication level. Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying before. There has to be something more than fighting. Right towards use 99% Trump spaces to rally and organize their propaganda. I think Blue Sky could be useful with that. Yeah, I think one of the things we have to do is Whitler also said this. We have to choose like winnable fights. I think that's really important. Like picking certain things to go and fight on, like the Wisconsin Supreme Court thing, or maybe abortion in Florida. I think winnable fights is important too, because it shows like some impact of like you can go somewhere, campaign for something or fight for something and then win on that thing. So what is this? Why not just do PvP on Truth Social? Maybe I can. I think I'm gonna have a debate with Andrew Wilson on Piers. But the thing is, remember, conservatives know that they are lying. It's always important to remember that. They know that they're lying. There's a reason why your Steven Crowders and your Ben Shapiro's and everybody only debate like uninformed college kids in surprise matches. The reason why is because they know that their stuff doesn't stand up to scrutiny. It's why they avoid, like the plague, any sort of confrontational dialogue with somebody that they know is more equipped to challenge them on it. Unless that person is like willing to be polite and play ball and not be too harsh.
If you add Los Angeles into it, then you can really do one big, beautiful bill, because, frankly, they want that so badly. They want the money to go out there so badly. And I don't think we should do a bill until Los Angeles is included. And when Los Angeles is included, we get everything we want. If you add Los Angeles into it, then you can really do one big, beautiful bill, because, frankly, they want that so badly. They want the money to go out there so badly. And I don't think we should do a bill until Los Angeles is included. And when Los Angeles is included, we get everything we want.
What was this in reference to, or where? What is the full? Do we have the full recording of this? An exception was Ben Shapiro's Oxford Union debate. He was very much confronted. I mean, like, kind of, but they're still undergrads. Like, I mean, what are you gonna like? Not to knock anybody at Ivy League colleges. I think they're incredibly bright people, but. Destiny, we need to win on culture. What are Dems even about? What is the attractive alternative? We need to bring back your philosophy. I want to push for policy to accomplish blah, blah. The problem is that, like, when Democrats win on culture, they're not like obsessed with politics like Republicans are. That's like the difference, is that our culture obsession like didn't translate much to electoral stuff. Like, if you think of the people in Hollywood and the wokeness and all that bullshit, like part of the messaging was still shitting on Democrats. Like, there were cultural and social issues that they wanted to message on, but very rarely did that result in a huge support for the party. It might have had some support for people like maybe AOC or Bernie Sanders, but not for the party. The right, and also people on the left, I don't think, aside from like woke college kids, I don't think they talk about politics everywhere. But people on the right will inject politics into fucking everything. That's one of the reasons why they're so much more successful in all these worlds, is because everything is political and it infects and is absorbed by every single thing that they do in their life. So they're very like unified on that front.
A lot of people want me to go full nuclear about it. I don't think that it's necessary to do that. I don't want to.
Don't you think the H-1B visas showed the Dems, the Achilles heel of the Republicans? They really hate immigrants. I mean, like, they have a lot of Achilles heels. They're like, the Republicans right now are unified by idol worship, right? It's just an obsessive worship of Trump. And when Trump is gone, I don't think another figure can step up. And there are going to be extreme ideological schisms because the MAGA group grew so many different demographics. It's included a whole bunch of people now that aren't ideologically bought into like the post-neocon Tea Party, quasi faux libertarian bullshit. There's not going to be this huge ideological congruity between all the new groups that are part of the MAGA people. So there's going to be some schisms. The question is whether or not the Trump cult worship can pull them all back to just being relatively aligned, you know?
A lot of people want me to go full.
LeMayo at Destiny, that's so fucking not true. Weird leftoid politics infects all movies, shows, and games, companies, rainbow capitalism, etc. Yeah, they kind of do that the woke messaging and all that. But the woke messaging, those people are never huge Harris or Biden supporters. Like, they might do like a, go Bernie thing, but like the wokies are not out here saying think of all the Gaza kids. How many of those people were protesting Biden probably harder than any of the Republicans, right? It's not the same. Whereas the Republicans are like single-mindedly unified around, and the centrists and the whatever bullshit are all single-mindedly unified around Trump.
A lot of people want me to go full nuclear about it. I don't think that it's necessary to do that. I don't want to create drama. As I said before, maybe I want to go to SpaceX one day. I think that'd be really cool. If I could go live stream one of the rocket launches, that'd be great. So no, I don't want to go and start a bunch of drama and burn a bridge. Absolutely not.
How do we separate ourselves from the wokies? I mean, you just have to disavow them. And more people on the center left should be willing to disavow them. Stop being so gentle. Like, just say like, yeah, these guys are cringe. I don't associate with them. And that's it. Like, it should be very easy for even people like Brian, Tyler Cohen, or Josiah, or anybody else, not calling them out in particular, but just like to be able to say that, like, yeah, like, these people over here are kind of cringe. We don't associate with them. Like, I don't carry their views with me. I don't champion any of the shit they say. I don't, advocate for these positions. Like, yeah.
Not. Why would I do that?
Is the Trump victory evidence that America is innately bigoted or stupid? Is this too simplistic? I personally can't fathom supporting Trump if you're either, unless you're a bigot, stupid, or worthless. It's not. It's. To take a step back, the thing is you have to keep in mind, okay, that the average person, the super average person, is waking up, checking some social media, going to work, getting home, hanging out with friends, playing games, hanging out with their family, eating a little bit, maybe on some social media, and they go to sleep. This is the average person. The average person doesn't know anything about like Shokan and Burisma and like all these crazy things. So the average person is going to care about things that are either immediately noticeable in their life, so things like inflation for sure, and then whatever permeates into their social media bubbles, which unfortunately is going to be a whole bunch of social wars issues. So saying something along the lines of like, Donald Trump is trying to sue pollsters because he doesn't like the results that they were giving. Like, you're already like halfway through. Donald Trump suing. Okay, what? Okay. Versus like trans women killing high school students in sports games. It's like, oh, that's crazy. And I know that that's bullshit. Like, trans men are playing volleyball games, combat sports. Like, that's like an immediately, intuitively, viscerally, emotionally evocative thing that you just grapple with, or you can engage with and immediately have a strong feeling about. The culture war stuff is just so powerful and so big and so important, and it overrides everything else. So for an average person who's just not super politically plugged in, because the average person isn't, it's really complicated. There's just a lot of bullshit, and it's not fun, right? Unless it's literally your hobby. Why the fuck would you engage with politics unless you're some weirdo? The culture war stuff is just so much more important, and conservatives fight on all those battlegrounds so much. But when conservatives fight on those battlegrounds, they angle it really well into electoral outcomes. It's very big, right? Like, progressives don't say, we need to defend trans people, so vote Democrat. Like, we need to defend minimum wage, we need to defend healthcare. They rally around policies, which Americans don't care about policies. So they'll say, we need single payer, we need trans rights. And then they'll say, like, the Democrats don't go far enough. So, like, you're not even energized. Like, nobody comes away from a progressive rally being like, damn, yeah, let's go vote for Biden. Let's go vote for Harris. Let's go vote for like, they don't feel that way. There's a lot of support for, like, the more extreme candidates. So people like Bernie Sanders, but then that's it. Once they're gone, it's like, oh, well, fuck this, There are more Asmongold. Holy fuck, bro. Didn't we watch his stream a little bit on this?
You guys hear me? Yeah?
How does Asmongold have so many viewers? Is this shit real or botted? I think he's got a lot of center-right and far-right audience members right now. So you know how I kept saying Hassan was pretty much unopposed on Twitch? Now he has opposition, and now this is like right-wing Hassan, basically. Or Hassan is like left-wing Asmongold. So now you go to Asmongold for what feels like basically the bog standard like centrist takes. Like Asmongold is what Tim Pool was like 4 years ago. Like he's going to give you all of kind of like the anti-woke marching orders is what it feels like. Maybe he counter messages on some things. I just haven't seen it, but this is basically what it feels like. How do you counter the culture wars? For example, the LGBT stuff with kids. It sounds weird, but like you just have to walk away from the soy shit and not be soy as fuck anymore. And also you have to be positive in your messaging, right? I think as negative as the Republicans are, there is a queer positivity to everything that they have as well, right? And you have to really tease these things out. Like when you're looking at like Andrew Tate talking about how like you're a piece of shit, like you need to go out, like you're worthless, you're not doing anything, like this is like you haven't done anything, you haven't accomplished anything, look at you, right? It doesn't feel like he's actually shitting on you. What it feels like is he's telling you is like you're a man and you could do so much more, right? That's what it feels like when they're chastising you. So even though it comes off as negative, it's not, because the attacks that he's levying against you come from an area of, as weird as it feels to say, from an area that feels like a place of compassion or understanding, or I'm shitting on you because you want to be this and I want you to be this. But when the left does it, it's like you're gross because you're white and your country has a history of slavery and you're white and male and a rapist and everybody should think you're just like, oh, well, fuck me, I guess. Damn, that's like a downer. It doesn't feel good. People need to do a better job at advocating for things without just making it sound soy as fuck. Destiny, it feels like this is advice for yourself. Not sure if the average person should do what you're saying. No, the average person should absolutely do what I'm saying. There's a way... there's a way to correct people on bigoted shit that, this sounds so cringe to say, but there's a way to correct people on bigoted shit that is like, it's cool and it's not cringe. Like if you're hanging out with a friend and another friend makes a weird joke about the guy and he's like, oh, you're black, like want to go pick some cotton while rapping or whatever, like you don't have to be like, bro, don't you understand that Western imperialism has made it so that the dominant culture right now is oppressing him in systemic ways that are invisible to you, and that the fact that you do, right, you can just be like, bro, this is my friend. That's not cool. Why would you say that? Fuck off. Like you can just be cool. I don't know how else to say it, but like just be cool. Just be cool. There are so many ways that you can be cooler. I feel like Ethan has done this. I contrasted like Ethan from HHT versus like iDubbbz, although I haven't watched a lot of iDubbbz' content recently, so maybe it's changed. But like there's ways that you can hold people accountable where you can just like be cool about it without being like so fucking, fuck, I don't want to be an asshole. I'm not calling out anybody in a bad way. People are young and I understand that people do whatever, that's fine. But fuck, there was a Dean Withers clip. The fuck? Oh, good meme, probably. God, he's so cringe, dude. Top one with the girl? I don't know if that was it. I think it was a different one. It was him on a couch. Oh.
I don't know.
And also, I'm only talking about messaging here because the underlying idea is different, okay? Or not like the underlying idea is not soy. It's a good thing, right? Like diversity is a good thing to have. Not because it's right and not because it's woke and not because it's politically correct, but because there's like a whole new batch of content and people that you can associate with when there are more voices involved, right? Mudahar is not a white guy, right? Abba and Preach are not like white dudes. This is like what the internet predominantly was. As weird or as crazy as Ayla Girl is, right? She has a lot of entertainment on the internet. That's a woman on the internet. Like they're like having these different groups of people that all feel comfortable stepping into online spaces and like adding their voices. It's nice. It's more entertaining. It makes, at the end of the day, for better content for us, right? There are like tons of different types of people that are just, it's better to have like all of these voices here and to be able to hear people and whatever, not for any like woke or cringe or whatever bullshit reason, just because it's more, it literally is more entertaining. Like that's it. Yeah, you don't have to be woke scoldy about it.
Why he's debate trained. He doesn't talk.
No, I know why
he's debate trained. He doesn't talk.
No,
like,
I can
he
tell.
He doesn't talk like we talk at the gym.
No,
you know what I mean?
yeah, like we're not like a bro. But I'm trying to understand why you're relating the two.
Come on, I could be bro. Yeah, sure, I got you. So there's two things. I would personally hold to the position that human rights should probably be federally protected against. I don't think in any scenario a state should be able to legalize a human rights violation. And it's that principle that drives us to the conclusion that slavery shouldn't be up to the states and should be protected against by the federal government. However, I also apply that to certain abortions. For instance, I think it is a human rights violation to infringe upon an individual's bodily integrity and autonomy without good reason. And I'd actually say it's those same human rights violations that drive us to the conclusion that slavery is wrong. However, under that same category, comes the criminalization of elective lethal abortions before a certain point, because there's just simply no reason to ban it.
It's fair. I mean, I can't really argue it. There's no arguing that.
I just chill. Just like calm down a little bit. Just like you can be a little bit more relaxed, you know? Dean Withers is super young and he's in like a super combative thing on TikTok. So I'm not like calling him out in particular or whatever, but I'm just saying like, I think a lot of people just need to kind of like take a deep breath, chill a little bit, and it's okay. Can you give an example of how would you word what he said in a more chill way? Doing it in like hindsight is cringe because I can always invent. Oh fuck me! I need to get out of them. Oh here, let's watch this top one. What is this?
Niche. Congrats, you've got your niche. It's this like autistic, I can memorize everything and I think I'm smarter and better than you. I think you're 100% grifter. It's very cringe. Your attitude, especially your attitude towards me, which is ironically extremely elitist of you. This is what most Americans were sick of. We were sick of being told by people we're dumb, useless, redneck idiots. I'm very popular because I have very common sense opinions.
I asked you to review any position that I hold to be the case with reason and logic, and you gave a long-winded 2-minute response about how you think I'm autistic and I'm elitist because I think that you're weird and dumb. I think that this perfectly resembles the quote-unquote common sense of the right. The common sense of the right has nothing to do with sense, has nothing to do with reason, has nothing to do with logic, has all to do with your emotions and how you hold them to such a high pedestal to dictate what should happen to others. Like for instance, you have put the pedal to the metal on me so many times about how it's okay to say anything you want, words are just words, but as soon as I call you dumb, you talk about it for 45 minutes straight.
Okay, I don't think anything is wrong with this, but she's already like going off on him, so fuck her. That's fine.
Say that Twitter favors.
You can be aggressive against people that are already being aggressive towards you. The whole podcast was her doing that.
You know what? Here we go. I'm going to make a bold statement.
God, I fucking hate this guy. I can't believe he still exists on the internet, in media, anywhere. It's actually insane that he got away with it, that they all got away with it. Fuck! Was it further down than this?
His voice is a little deeper than most cats.
Stupid.
I don't know why
he's debate trained. He doesn't talk.
No,
like,
I can
he
tell.
Doesn't talk like we talk at the gym.
No,
you know what I mean?
like we're not like a bro. But I'm trying to understand why you're relating the two.
Come on, I could be bro. Yeah, sure, I got you. So there's two things. I would personally hold to the position that human rights should probably be federally protected against. I don't think in any scenario a state should be able to legalize a human rights violation. And it's that principle that drives us to the conclusion that slavery shouldn't be up to the states and should be protected against by the federal government.
I'm guessing the question before this was like, why shouldn't the states have a right to ban abortion, basically? That's what the question was before this, I'm guessing?
However, I also apply that to certain abortions. For instance, I think it is a human rights violation to infringe upon an individual's bodily integrity and autonomy without good reason. And I'd actually say it's those same human rights violations that drive us to the conclusion that slavery is wrong. However, under that same category, comes the criminalization of elective lethal abortions before a certain point, because there's just simply no reason to ban it.
That's fair.
I'm guessing that was a question before, but like I feel like in this case, I think that if you're trying to be it's the 3 Ps, okay? People, policy, platform, okay? So you're talking to bros. You're talking about, it sounds like legalizing or illegalizing certain things, okay, involving fundamental rights or whether the state should do it or the federal government do it. And you're talking on a bro podcast, okay? So that's where we're at, right? So I guess if you're going for an empathetic approach, then what you would do is you would try to find like, well, what's a policy that you care about, okay, that you wouldn't want a state to make illegal, that the audience also understands. So I feel like rather than doing all this, I'm assuming what came before this was like, why would you compare slavery to banning abortion? That's what it sounds like came before this, and that's why he's drawing the parallel, or he drew the parallel before and they asked him why. Then you'd say something like, it'd be something like, well, hey, let's say that the federal government protects us to do some things, right? Like TRT, right? Like TRT and hair surgery or whatever has been a huge thing for a lot of guys, right? Well, imagine if the government said these aren't federally protected, now a state can make it illegal. Well, fuck, that would suck if Florida banned TRT or Florida banned like hair replacement surgery, right? Like, shouldn't that just be like a thing that we're allowed to pursue? Like, that would be an example that the audience understands. We don't have to bring up like federal protections or any complicated language. I imagine the guys would defend that. They'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I guess. So just because it's like because one of the big things that you have to overcome in like a debate space is making somebody understand, like for the abortion thing, people will say abortion was banned and that's not good, but then the slogan that demons and liars like Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool and Dave Rubin have given you are, they didn't make it illegal, they just gave it back to the states. And it's like, and that feels like an answer, but it's not. That's actually not responsive. Like, hold on, I want abortion to be legal, but you gave it back to the states. But that's not really responsive, right? Like, for instance, like TRT and hair transplant surgeries, like these should be legal, right? If you gave that to the states to make it illegal, that's probably not good. I don't think states should be able to make everything illegal, right? That would be like an intuitive thing that you would chat about that everybody would kind of like have a gross on, I think, yeah. But I don't know. I know it's been doomer for quite a while now, but do you have any positive or hopeful outlook for the U.S.? Seeing my friends get sucked in and genuinely harbor vitriol while thinking they've got the moral high ground is making me very worried. You know, the positive example, the positive thing to look for is MAGA has exploded in terms of people. They are a much bigger tent now of people that have been brought in. All of those people are not ideologically aligned with each other. There is going to be massive fracturing and schism. I mean, it's already happened even before Trump has been in office. We saw it around the H-1B issue. It's going to happen around things like regulation of crypto and finance markets, and it's going to happen around tax cuts and balancing the budget, and it's going to happen around immigration and foreign policy. These are all going to be issues that people are split on. And while all of this is happening, the Democrats have a chance to get their shit together outside of the spotlight. So the Democrats can get this DNC stuff going in a better way. They've got time to restructure and reform because we're not in the spotlight governing right now. Any fuck-ups are going to be attributed to the Republicans. There are small electoral wins that they can try to carve out, whether it's this upcoming Wisconsin Supreme Court thing or some other like state issue. And then hopefully, because the incumbent party tends to do poorly in the midterms, and I believe the House and Senate map, I think, look good for the Democrats in 2026. It's possible that if everything goes in like a fairly likely direction, that 2026 could be a really good electoral year for Democrats, and then you kind of like push from there, you know? That's like the brights right now, but... Okay, so everybody that is like asking these questions, okay, you're losing it. I don't know how to train you guys to not be autistic, okay? I'm kind of autistic when I'm on stream, but when I go on shows, I'm generally not autistic. I need you to adopt this, okay? So, Destiny, isn't the whole bodily autonomy argument bad for the abortion issue? Destiny, is it not actually just a poor argument, though? No limit to bodily autonomy for no good reason, just moves argument? That doesn't matter. When you're trying to communicate with somebody and appeal to somebody, you're not looking for the most logically consistent and sound answer that you'd be willing to defend against the ghost of Thomas Aquinas, while you're trying to argue out these tautological, these syllogistic arguments of soundness and light. Like, that's just... Stop. Be a human, find some things that people like relate to, like, hey, you wouldn't want this band, right? And then go from there. If they want to push on the soundness of your argument, is it Martin Bradley? If Martin Bradley wanted to come out and be like, well, don't you think that the soundness of your argument can be challenged? Then you can dive into like, okay, sure, this isn't a one-to-one. Like, what do you think is incomparable? We can go to the next issue. But you don't start with like the philosophy, fucking crazy prop logic jargon, and then hope to go from there. You just like go for just start on the human level and then find some common ground there and then move from there if you want. Why do you think Shapiro and Jordan Peterson are so popular on the right? I don't know, because they shit on the left. They're anti-woke. Do content creators like Asmongold avoid talking to you because there isn't pressure in their community to talk to you, or is it mostly because they don't see anything to gain by talking to you? I used to think it was just because we didn't have any like common crossing points, but I think Asmongold, intentionally avoids it because he doesn't want to be challenged on his talking points, because I think he knows how completely out of his depth on a lot of it he is. But I think that he enjoys the audience capture. There's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of like echo chambery reinforcement, cool stuff that's happening. Like all of that feels like really good. So I imagine he probably just wants to maintain that. So part of that is hanging out in the echo chamber. His name is Bradley Martin. Okay, I don't know. And then also, I'll also give criticism for like, for I guess like autistic fucking subreddit posters. Can someone please tell Tiny Number 2 to either stop coming on these shows or to loosen up a little and dial the debate bro vocabulary back a little? These guys have no idea what he's saying, and he comes off distasteful towards anyone in the audience on this side of the internet. Tiny Number 1 does a great job adapting to the atmosphere depending on who he's talking with. I think Dean just needs some pointers if he's going to continue to come on shows like this. I don't know why you have to phrase this in like the most like threatening, aggressive way possible. Like, it's funny because like half of this post is fine. Like I don't think these guys have any idea what he's saying. Dean comes off distasteful towards anyone on the audiences, in the audience on this side of the internet. I think Dean just needs some pointers, and he'll do a lot better. Like, why is it like, stop, he needs to stop going on these shows. If you want to keep going on these shows, you have to, like, why, this is like so autistically fucking phrased. Like, if this was about me, this would be a drive-by threat. I would probably permaban the poster if this was about me, to be honest. You know what? You're getting a 3-day ban. Be more positive. Mod note, not positive enough. Very mean. Frowny face. You know what? You're getting actually, it's 7 days. No, it will be 3 days. 7 days is a long time on the internet. Vosh energy in this one, 0 charisma. Like, I think what you have to keep in mind is that, like, you can say 0 charisma, but I'm pretty sure Dean and Parker are both incredibly popular on TikTok. They're just, like, molded by different environments. I think this is, like, another thing that, you guys take me for granted on this, okay? Is that I can get along with a lot of different types of people, but that's really hard for a lot of people to go from being on like an Alex O'Connor show to a Fresh and Fit show and have the audiences on both to at least like have a good show. That's a really difficult thing to do. But just because somebody excels in one platform and doesn't do well in another doesn't mean they're autistic. Sometimes it's just really hard to change up, to switch gears for that. That's a really challenging thing to do for people. But whatever. Yeah. Fuck, you guys are fucking autistic. He sounds like a second semester poli-sci major. Yeah, but it works on TikTok, which is where there are like ultra debate bro communities on TikTok, especially if the show is as combative as the TikTok debates. But this show is not. I doubt that this is a combative podcast. This is so cringe, bro.